Welcome to the video, guys. You might have seen the reports about Turkey opening the borders for all of their 5-odd million refugees to stream across into Europe. You might also have heard that Greece wasn't having none of it, either firing warning shots or directly at them. But reports have suggested that tear gas was used to send them back into Turkey after they tried to cross into Greece. Thankfully for everyone, Greece had secured its border, with plenty of men on hand to stem the tide and prevent them entering Europe. Now, the whole situation that's brought this on is relating to money and Turkey wanting more of it off the EU to keep these economic migrants, or as Sky News would try and have you believe, refugees. They ain't fucking refugees, which, as we all know, the EU can't afford to pay anyone anything. They can't even get their own budget across, as the Akkad Daily channel pointed out last night. So, if you want to find out more about that, go and check out his video on it. Because in this video, we are going to look at Sky News' reporting on the subject. Because the editorial guidelines that this reporter has followed is completely anti-British and literally trying to make everyone sympathetic to people that have no right to be in the EU, let alone in the UK. So I really don't know why Sky News are even bothering to send people there. We're no longer in the EU, so it's not our problem. They can deal with it, they can pay for the bullshit. Our government better start being a lot more hardline than they have been over the years. Now, here we have a Sky News article which I'm not going to bother reading. It's just talking about what Turkey had done, encouraging hundreds of refugees to head for the border to Europe. But they were duped. Families from Syria, from Iran, from Iraq, from Afghanistan, from Tunisia, from Egypt and from Morocco huddle around campfires hoping to cross into Greece. Now, how many of them countries are actually at war? I'm sure the war in Syria's finished, there's no war in Iran, Iraq's not at war, neither's Afghanistan, they've literally just signed a peace deal with the Americans, Tunisia's not at war, neither's Egypt or Morocco. So, none of these people are refugees. Okay, maybe I'll give 10, 15 people refugee status from the government over there because they might have pissed them off in one of them countries. But certainly not fucking all of them, I ain't having none of that shit. So anytime these people are saying that these are refugees, they're talking complete shit. They're migrants. And we have to remember that all of these people are in Turkey because of the EU and deals they made with Turkey themselves to take these people. Because of course, eventually, the EU does want them into the EU countries. But they can't get them through there now because people like Greece and other countries are saying no, we can't take no fucking more. But the EU don't care about that. I'm more than aware of the EU's future workforce replacement policies, which they openly promote as increasing the birth rate. They don't give a fuck where these people come from. That's why you see families from Syria, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Tunisia, and Egypt, Morocco, etc. Anyone willing to come is more than welcome too. The more people they can get over here, the cheaper labour will become over time. Which is actually shown in this Sky News report we are going to see. Because I would say 90 to 95% of the people there are young, working age and breeding age males. Who are literally economic migrants, not refugees. They are being fucking bussed in there, for fuck's sake. Refugees don't have access to fucking shiny white buses, do they? Let's take a look.
They began with a rush to the border crossing into Greece. The message from Turkey was that it would be opened, and so they pushed forward. Many young men at the front, but many women and children too, and from all across the Middle East. Behind them, the Turkish border officials watched on. Their government is encouraging this to pressure Europe. The bangs are from shots fired by the Greek police on the other side of the frontier. Tear gas was used too. Greece is already overwhelmed by refugees who've been there for years, and the guards here have orders to hold the line.
You know, I've got to say, for so-called refugees, they are all dressed very well. I wouldn't expect refugees to be dressed like that or that many young men to be part of them. It's like I said before, complete fucking nonsense that these are refugees. And Sky News are a bunch of snivelling shitweasels for claiming that these people are refugees. 100% they are not. There might be a couple in there, but definitely not all of them are refugees. And like I said earlier, they're from all across the Middle East and also Africa. He failed to put that out there. But it's like I said, the EU's policies don't care where they come from. Their issue is, some EU nations are not playing ball. It's like I said though, we're very lucky that the Greek police or the army, whoever was over the other side, is not having none of it and not letting them cross. Because Turkey can claim to be opening the border. As long as Greece holds firm, they ain't coming in. It's much like that clip of the Greek islanders the other day fighting off the police, who were there to stop them destroying a mass migration centre.
But this is the effect of the gas.
This is my baby. And just 40 days.
40 days.
Among the thousands here, we met a father from Iran.
A boy or a girl? Little boy?
Boy.
Boy.
A boy.
Okay.
Yes.
And you, hi, how are you?
Hi.
You came here because you thought the border was open.
Yes, because he is sick.
Like many, they need medical care but can't afford to access it in Turkey. Over each horizon, they think it must be better, a natural human instinct. And yet, wherever they move, things seem to remain terrible.
I absolutely love Sky News, showing you some poor kid crying because their parents have tried to cross illegally into another country and have been tear gassed to keep them back. This is not the fault of anyone but the parents who are taking their kids to do this shit. At the end of the day, these people have all paid money to get from their respective countries to Turkey, so they are not destitute and could have happily stayed where they were. They just want a better life for themselves, as we will hear in a moment. Completely shitting on the claims from this Sky News shitweasel that these are refugees. We also hear from the guy from Iran who, granted, could well be a refugee. We all know what the Iranian regime is like. But still, why the fuck are you trying to do this crazy shit with a 40-day-old baby? Surely it's more risky to your 40-day-old baby being in migrant camps and around all these people, rather than just staying where you originally was. And I really hope that girl standing next to him is his daughter and not his wife, because she doesn't really look old enough to be his wife. I could be wrong though, but as you heard there, they need medical care, so I would consider them economic migrants trying to find a better life, not refugees escaping persecution. They're escaping having to pay healthcare costs in Turkey, which is something they would likely have had to pay in Iran also. But with the stupidity of the EU, they can just get it for free. So, Sky News, you bunch of snivelling shitweasels, these are not fucking refugees, are they?
The afternoon brought a little calm and time to sit with Yama Bahashir and his family.
I want a proper life and a good future for my kids. If I stay in Turkey, I will have no future. I will be just a refugee.
Once a translator for the Americans in Afghanistan, he's now here in a field between Turkey and Greece.
Everybody has suffered a lot, and again we are suffering. Yeah, it is a game.
Oh, so we now get to the Afghan guy who openly admits he just wants a better life for his kids. So another economic migrant. Not once has Sky News pointed that out to anyone. They have literally said, refugee, refugee, refugee. Oh, and this guy was actually a translator for the Americans during the Afghan war. So he obviously speaks English well. Maybe the NHS will employ him. We know how much they need translators these days, and can only guess at how much they spend on them. Last report, I believe, was done in 2012.
A game played by world powers and politicians. One of them, a Turkish opposition party member, was on the border to see it for himself, and he understands why his president is doing this.
The fact is that more than 5 million refugees are kept in Turkey since 2012. Why? How many? Where are you from?
UK.
UK, how many refugees you have in UK?
Not that many.
Why? Do we have to keep all these people?
Now we hear from the Turkish opposition member who understands why his president is doing this. So do I. He's got the EU by the balls. He knows he can literally extort them for money because he can threaten to send these economic migrants streaming into Europe, which will send the EU into absolute shit fits. They can't even pay for the budget that they want to pass to spend on things that they already have planned, let alone the expenses of 5 odd million unplanned migrants from Turkey. They really ain't ready for that shit. Now I love how when questioned on how many refugees are in the UK, he says not that many, when actually we probably got about 9 million economic migrants, which is what these people are. So actually, we've probably got more than Turkey. And let's be honest, we're smaller than Turkey, even if we have a bigger economy. But there is one thing that this Sky News reporter should have said when he said, why don't you take more? My instant response would have been, why don't you send these people back to their home countries? As I pointed out, most, if not all of them, are coming from countries that are not currently at war. Why are they a refugee? They're not. The point of it is, they're economic migrants. You got even more right to send them fucking back. This opposition MP is going along with what President Erdogan said because he wants more money being pumped into Turkey. But like I said, and I'll tell this opposition MP it, we don't want you to keep them there, send them fucking home. You don't have to keep them there, don't listen to the fucking EU, send them fucking back. It's the EU telling them to keep them there. If they won't fucking pay you for it, send them home. You can't send them into the EU because obviously Greece ain't fucking having it. But I think you guys will agree that whole little clip there from Sky News was a complete load of bullshit, heavily biased towards these economic migrants, constantly calling them refugees, when you even heard them say young men are all at the front rushing forward because they want to get over there, get into Europe and start getting some jobs. Interesting gaming related content on YouTube, or just want to follow me over there because you are a legend, the link will be down in the video description below and as a pinned comment. I hope to see you all there. Now as always, before I go, I want to thank our PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar and YouTube members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot, and I will see you all in the next one.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires, and that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.